Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Your number one host here, Big John, alongside the mighty, and I mean the mighty Paul Rimmer. That's what we said, the mighty. The guy's got passion, love, he's got faith, and
and sense of humour. He's a scouser.
But yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. I hope everyone's all right. Please share if you're on social media. I'll just quickly check everything's running all right. It's the Uxbridge by-election on Thursday. I'll just get the list up. And there's a lot of people running. Obviously, Lawrence Fox is running. But I did see a video of him today, Paul, actually, a couple of videos. And it looks, he's a guy who's never knocked on a door, canvassed in his life. I just have to say, by the way and his mannerisms that I've seen.
He's a thespian, isn't he? He's an actor.
Yeah.
From a very fat family. But all credit to him for standing up for what he believes, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Piers Corbyn's running. Obviously, Lawrence Fox. We've got Danny Beale's a Labour candidate. And I can actually show you one of his leaflets. If I can find it. I can actually show you one of his leaflets off somebody who lives in the area. If I can find the damn thing.
The thing about this Danny Beale is he's from the ultra left. He's from Camden. He's been pushing transgender. He gave thousands of pounds to the transgender campaign, and this is a council that's really under the cosh financially. He was really pro ULEZ, and we're going to talk a lot about ULEZ, the ultra low emission zone, which they want to push into outer London. And it's going to cost anyone with a car $4.5 grand a year to have that car, just to have a car. So it's going to be
unbelievable.
And it's all for Sadiq Khan to fill the coffers. He's spent, and he's got his favourite constituency, who we all know who they are. How are we, John?
Good. I just messed up there. I'm always messing up, me.
Okay, well, let's talk about this ULEZ. You know, it's become the main theme in Uxbridge. Now, Labour are pushing this green agenda. The net zero agenda the Tories are pushing is doing enormous damage to Britain. And it's going to drive manufacturing out of this country. It's going to increase the taxes. It's just a nightmare. And for me, I mean, I've studied meteorology, you know, I've got a qualification in meteorology, which is the science of weather, the atmospheric physics. And I believe this whole climate agenda is just a hoax, complete hoax. I believe that mankind can no more affect the temperature of the climate than it can the direction of the wind. Now, they've got a heat wave at the moment in Spain in July, a Mediterranean heat wave. Well, all that is a ridge of high pressure coming north from the Sahara Desert. It will soon pass. But they're using things like that to justify pushing big tax changes on us, as if these tax changes are going to affect the movement of the pressure zones around the globe. Absolute nonsense. But obviously, everyone in Uxbridge and the outer zone in London is panicking. Imagine receiving a bill, John, for $4.5 grand just for having a car. And of course, taxi drivers, the white van man, just ordinary punters. I mean, it's hard to get around London. I mean, I know you got the tube system, but once you get off the tube system, there's not much going. The buses are few and far between. So you need a car to get around. And they're going to punish people. So they're saying to people, vote for us, and we'll put a £4,500 bill through your letterbox. So obviously that's causing a real fuss in Uxbridge, and the Tories have used it to their advantage, because this whole by-election in Uxbridge has become about ULEZ. You know, it's a protest vote against it. Now, All credit to Lawrence Fox. He was out quick off the blocks on this one. He's been campaigning against it for quite a while. But the Labour candidate, this Danny Beale, he was passionately for it. And then when he got selected as the candidate, he became neutral. And now he's against it. This is the Labour Party, isn't it? They'll say anything to get popularity. They'll say anything,
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Our politicians don't have any, what do you say it now? Honesty or anything. We had a council meeting last week, and even though the some of the Muslims in the council said, "Oh, we're not homophobic," they are homophobic people. Right, we've got Pat in here now. 1 sec. I'm coming, Pat.
Yeah,
Good evening, Pat.
Hello there.
Good evening, Pat.
Good evening. Yeah, I know all about the ULEZ because the area where I live is where they first implemented it, and I had to change my vehicle. So what they're trying to say is that unless you upgrade your vehicle to a cleaner vehicle, you'll have to pay £15 a day to drive your vehicle. So I had to upgrade from my old vehicle to a new vehicle. I didn't want to do it. I didn't have to do it. And I had to buy a new vehicle, which cost me a lot of money. And
when did you do that, Pat? When was that?
This happened about 2 years ago. And,
well, you know that the cost of vehicles has gone through the roof, even second-hand ones. So I don't think that's an option for many poorer people in outer London.
That's right. And I didn't want to upgrade to a new vehicle. I was quite happy with the vehicle I had. It was a diesel, and the new vehicle I bought is also a diesel, but they say it's cleaner, this new one. And it's just a rip-off. They're just trying to scam the public for more money. And they're trying to go ahead with it. And I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But it's basically a scam, the climate hoax scam. They're using that to persecute the public for no good reason, and they're basically persecuting us, saying, "I'll pay some money and you won't get persecuted." It's like blackmail.
Well, this ULEZ goes ahead, Pat, at the end of the month, so it's not like something in the distant future. And these people are going to get the bills very, very quickly. So there's a lot of panic there. Now, of course, this is a Greater London Council decision, so it's a parliamentary election. It's a different, obviously, but it's become a referendum on ULEZ. And it's good to see, because the truth is, in these 3 by-election campaigns, I'm struck how sort of subdued they are, how little passion there is in this country for politics, because nobody's speaking for the people anymore. The BNP have gone. UKIP are standing in this by-election, but they're making no impact at all. In fact, there's a host of smaller parties standing. And apart from Lawrence Fox, they're making no impact at all. They're all going to lose the deposits. And the Reform Party is making little impact in Somerton, where there's a by-election in Somerset, which the Lib Dems are going to walk that one. And in Selby, they're making very little impact because people there's a feeling of almost defeatism now. People have resigned, but there's so many wolves coming up the track about to devour them. People have got to wake up and bite back.
Right, I can give you my overview of what's happened, if that's okay.
Go on.
Okay.
Yeah, so the situation we are in is a bad situation because Labour, Conservative, or the Lib Dems will continue to win at this stage. And the reason they're going to win these by-elections, Lawrence Fox, in my opinion, will get a very poor vote because he hasn't got enough voters in that area who have voted for him before. Like Labour and Conservative will be holding all the local council seats in that area. They've got regular voters who will vote for them. And the reason we're in this situation is because, unfortunately, everybody turned away from the BNP years ago. They went and put faith in UKIP. And then Nigel Farage and UKIP put faith in the Tory party. They still had faith in them, and we got the referendum in 2016, and Farage had faith in the Tory party to implement Brexit, which, as we all know, did not happen. Then they started up a new party, the Brexit Party, and then again, everybody still had faith in Farage and his team, and they again gave their faith to Boris Johnson, another establishment figure. So the reason we're in this mess is because of Nigel Farage, in my opinion, because he could have started a proper anti-establishment party with the support he had, but he was never anti-establishment. He is part of the establishment. That's the key to all of this. So again, he put faith in Boris Johnson. He stood all his candidates out of the way and was hoping that the Tory party was miraculously going to sort out immigration and all these things what we're all complaining about. And as we all know, it's a disaster. So all this time has been wasted in gaining local council seats, which are needed to win parliamentary elections. And we're a long way from getting a good vote in a parliamentary election, in my opinion. So Reform, Heritage, UKIP, they're all going about it the wrong way. They need to focus on local elections. Yes, if they've got the money and they want to stand in those elections, but the problem with that is you're going to get a bad result and you're going to demoralise people. People are so demoralised at the moment. Everyone's had friends saying to them, "Oh, it's a waste of time. There's no political route," and their results are going to be so bad that people who have donated a lot of money, they're going to think, "What the hell did I do that for?" And it's going to demoralise people. And Reform UK should know better about this because, surely they've got people in that party who know. And I'm not a fan of Reform, UKIP, Heritage, or what's the other one? UKIP. Reclaim, yeah. So, we need to focus on local elections and that's what the BNP did years ago. And they caused a big ripple, pressure on the government. And then the government panicked, promoted UKIP to block the BNP, and that's what got us Brexit. But then those people who were supposed to be saving our country gave the power back to the establishment, as in the Tory party and Boris Johnson. So, I very much doubt that Lawrence Fox is going to get a good result. None of them are going to get a good result. It's going to be a Lib-Lab-Con victory as usual because there is no seats, local seats in those areas held by semi-anti-establishment parties at the moment.
Well, Lawrence Fox is likely to get around 3,000 votes. You still talking, Pat? He's likely to get 3,000 votes, which is about 6% of the electorate. He's made an impact, and he's brought up some important issues, like the transgender issue. But you know what struck me about these by-elections, especially the one in Uxbridge, is that the established parties and even the minority parties, they won't focus on this issue of crime. Crime is an horrendous problem. I've sort of been following Uxbridge and listening to just the Vox Popular on the street, and they're saying that there's a whole spate, a plague of muggings in Uxbridge. Knife gangs, especially African knife gangs. They're just going up to the local kids, give us your money with a knife. And this is all being captured on cameras. It's all being captured. So the police know what's happening and they know who the culprits are, but they refuse to act because politically they're kept on a leash. You don't want to show that these immigrants or migrants or bogus asylum seekers, whatever you want to call them, that they're sparking a crime wave in the capital city and across this country. I mean, I'm sure John could talk about Greater Manchester. Birmingham's the same. But these people who've come into the country are criminals right from the off. I mean, they forced their way into this country They're making bogus asylum claims, and then they're milking the system for all it's worth. I mean, and then they go on a crime spree. And this is starting to devastate London because it's affecting the nightlife. People are saying in the Uxbridge by-election that people are no longer going to the bars, restaurants, pubs of a night in Uxbridge because they're scared. People, I mean, this is one of the things about ULEZ. They want to push people onto public transport, but people are scared to use public transport after a certain hour because of the crime associated with it and the misbehavior and the danger they face. People are genuinely scared. Now, it's the role of the politician to provide security for our people. And people don't feel secure anymore. They feel under threat. And you live in London, Pat. I mean, maybe you could sort of develop this and tell us what the situation really is in London. I mean, I know you're in the heart of London, so you're not really affected by it. But in these suburbs, I mean, there's a terrible crime wave taking place.
No, we are affected by it wherever I live. There's regular phone snatches going on. People riding on bikes and snatching their iPhones or Samsungs out of their hands. There's stabbings all the time. I mean, only today I was told about something, and the official story is that it was an accident, but I went to meet a new member of the party. He's joined. He's from Camden, near me, and we was on the Regent's Park estate, which is a massive council estate. And he said to me that a head was found on the pavement the other day of a Somalian teenager, and the story goes that he was trying to climb out of one of these blocks of flats windows, and he's fell and he smashed his head on a scaffolding. He's decapitated him, but his body was still in the flat. So something a bit dodgy there. And nowadays nothing surprises me. But anyway, there's this head on the pavement, and it's been on social media, and someone was like filming it, and they're saying, look, there's a bloody head there on the pavement. And then the police were there, and the police were like standing next to it. It was quite gruesome what it sounded like. But crime is out of control in London. It's completely out of control. If I had teenage kids at school, I don't know what I would do, because I would be terrified every day that they might get into an altercation and get stabbed. Or, like you said, there's robberies going on, and it's like, if you're a young teenager and you're going about your business in London or wherever, all over the UK now, what do? Do you go out and someone comes to rob you with a knife, and you're going to have to give them whatever you've got, or you carry a knife to prevent that? So we're in a serious situation, and it's really bad in London.
This degrades the life of a city, Pat. I mean, you lose the sense of well-being in a city. People feel on edge. I had a friend from Newcastle who went down to London recently, and he got off the tube station, and somebody, 3 lads, African lads, approached him with a knife and said, "Give us your wallet." And he said to him, "I'm from Newcastle. We don't carry wallets." So they said, "Just give us your money," he said. And he said, "I've only got coppers in my pocket." Here, it's 50p. And he said, "Oh, sod off," So, a northerner goes south and meets the reality of London, But there's 2 aspects to this. One, the policing is not vigorous enough. It's like the police are being restrained. They're being told not to go hard on these people, not to get them before the courts. It's like Crime Watch was taken off TV because you don't want to see who's committing all the crime. That these are African immigrants coming in and committing a crime wave. But the other factor is this. The media are not telling the truth about it. The media are trying to dumb it down all the time as if it's not happening. I mean, people are looking for the media to sort of tell them what's going on in the street. So gullible people are... I mean, I was in central London a few years ago. I was walking through Elephant and Castle and asked for directions. And it was a black lad. He said to me, "You better get out of here," he said. "You'll be a prime target for mugging. You're the wrong colour in the wrong place." I said, no, I'm in the middle of London. He said, you better get out of here, mate. I'm telling you. There'll be a knife in front of you very shortly. So I turned around and got out of there, you know. Now, I was naive. I thought the streets of Britain were safe. But these people are telling me that they're not, you know. And so it's a crazy situation. And you think the media would be onto this. They'd be speaking for all the people. Because all the people are facing this crime. Now, I was talking to a police officer recently. He came to Liverpool, a London police officer. And he said there's a wave of aggravated burglaries in London. Basically, gangs just kicking in people's front doors and stealing their TV sets or stealing things from their flats. And he said, we keep a hush-hush because we don't want to terrify everybody. But this is our capital city. It's like, we can't live a delusion. You know, we have to face reality. And people, this is bubbling up in this by-election in Uxbridge. But are the politicians talking about it? No, because they're scared because they've got no answers. What do you think, John?
I mean, what Pat said about the candidates vote, yeah, I get that, and I agree. I don't think he'll get that many votes myself, but it is interesting. But I mean, something that we should be aware of is political violence. Now, Rebecca Jane has been threatened. She claims on a tweet that she's been threatened by a candidate. And I just want to say that if a candidate's going to threaten someone, and especially a woman, this is what we're up against. And we don't get fair enough representation. I would never get fair enough representation, but even Rebecca Jane doesn't get fair enough representation. So it is all a bit of a joke and all that. But this bit about threatening people and not getting on with other candidates, it's a big issue, because I haven't been personally threatened yet, but if someone's going to threaten me, they better be a big fucking bloke. They better be hard, and they better have the backing of all the police in the world on them. And the thing is, people think that I'm a nobody. I'd get riots going in Oldham if people keep threatening my mum. So, you know, I'm just saying, I just want to be blunt and honest with everyone, and I'm not going to...
Who threatened her, John?
Well, we don't know, but we suspect. We haven't got 100% proof that it's an employee at Oldham Council.
Who threatened Rebecca Jane?
Oh no, with Rebecca Jane, she didn't mention the candidate. She just says a personal safety was threatened by a candidate. But there is.
You watch when Labour get back in power, right? They will unleash a tidal wave of intimidation, because they're going to mess this country up big style. Everything's going to get worse very quickly. I mean, it's bad enough now, but it's going to go pear-shaped when Labour gets to power. This time, they haven't got all the Tory money to spend that they had when Blair got elected. This time, they're facing...
Let me go back to the stabbings and that, right? So another big thing that is a big part of the reason that we're going in such a bad direction in London primarily is because the police are terrified to tackle these people who are carrying the knives. And the reason they're so terrified is because of what just happened in France. What happened in France happened here in 2011, and they've been desperately trying not to let that happen again, as in injure or kill a criminal, because that's what these people usually are. Mark Duggan was carrying a gun when that happened in 2011, and this guy in France, that he was allegedly a criminal as well. So they're terrified of that happening. And what's his name? Simon Cowell's just sold up his £45 million mansion in Holland Park because he doesn't feel safe anymore in London. So it's getting worse, and like you say, Paul, when Labour get in, it's just going to get worse and worse. Our time is now, right? Something big's going to happen politically. The Labour Party and the Conservative Party are going to fall apart. They are literally both a divided party. I don't know about the Lib Dems. Don't know how powerful they are. I don't know too much about them, but from what I can see with Labour Conservative, they are broken and divided, and it's just a matter of time. I don't know who's going to rise up. Obviously, I want National Housing Party to rise up, and we are doing something, We're in position. We need candidates. Please come forward. We need donations. This new member who I went to see today has kindly donated £100 to our leaflet campaign. We've got 2 constituencies we're targeting. And, this is what we need, good patriotic people. And people need to remember that those other parties, Reform, Heritage, Reclaim, UKIP, they all want more immigration and they all want more refugees. They all stand by the statement, refugees are welcome here. They stand by that statement. If you ask any one of them, do you think we should accept more refugees? Oh, yes, we must accept more refugees. That's the root of the problem. We've helped enough people over the years. Time to say no more. No more permanent settlement immigration. No more citizenship and housing for refugees. That's not to say refugees shouldn't be helped, but we are in no position to help as a nation. We're trillions in debt. And this is what our party is all about, putting the UK citizens first for housing. We're in a housing crisis. And this Uxbridge election is just a sideshow, really, because Labour or Conservative are going to win it. Maybe Lib Dems, I don't know. But these semi-establishment parties like UKIP and Reclaim, they're not going to get a good result there because they haven't got any. It takes years of knocking on doors to win a parliamentary election. And they're just going to demoralise their supporters. But who knows? I might be wrong. We'll have to wait and see on Thursday.
Well, no, I don't think any of the minor parties is going to make an impact. Maybe, just maybe, Reclaim can get 3,000 votes. I mean, he's had his say, but he hasn't really raised the big issues of crime and, as you talked about, the immigration. Now, coming back to crime, remember the BLM in London and watching the police run from BLM supporters? That was really demoralising. And I thought then the police had lost it and they've never really got it back. We need what we need is vigorous policing in London, but we need the politicians to stand behind them. The problem is now, Sadiq Khan is virtually embedded in London. He's got the Muslim bloc vote. Now, a key aspect of this Uxbridge by-election is the woman who's organising the Labour campaign. It used to be Angela Rayner. She used to organise for Labour, the elections. But it's a woman called Sabina Mahood. She's a Pakistani Muslim from Birmingham. And her role in this by-election is to mobilise the Muslim bloc vote. They've identified the Muslims. They're working with the mosques and with the local Muslim community groups. They're getting them all postal votes, and then they're harvesting the postal votes.
Let me come in there, Paul. Let me come in there. Because this is what I'm trying to say, Paul. A lot of the Muslims do not like Labour anymore. That is why they've lost the seats in John's ward. That's been Labour for years. When I was knocking on doors, I couldn't believe how many Muslims did not like Sadiq Khan. They have had enough of Labour. Not all of them. There's still probably a sizable amount who vote for them. But this is what I'm trying to say. Things are changing rapidly. And Labour are going to fall apart. She may be trying to find them to vote for them, but they're not going to get the votes from the Muslims like they did before. Things have changed.
Well, they're going to. I'm not sure about that myself, Pat. But the truth is, Labour is shoe in to win the by-election. They've already got their 18,000 votes sealed up. The postal votes is the biggest corruption that's ever happened to elections. I mean, you can get what they do. They identify. I mean, it's not only Muslim votes; it's the black bloc votes as well. It's the public sector bloc vote. It's the woke agenda. They've got this constituency Labour, and they've got them to get postal votes. And then they just harvest the postal votes, which guarantees their vote. So Labour are going to get a minimum of 18,000 in this by-election. That's what they got in a general election. They'll probably get upwards of that because they'll get disaffected voters. Now, there's nothing to compete with that in British politics at the moment. So this is a real threat to our actual democracy. Labour are manipulating the system, and they're fighting the elections like military campaigns, and they're harvesting postal votes. And this is unfair because what it means is that we no longer vote as individuals. We're up against a bloc, and we've got to get a counter bloc. That's the only way we can do it. We've got to get organised to form a counter bloc. Otherwise, we'll never get our capital city back, and we'll never get these Labour seats back. And this is a real concern.
That's exactly what we've got to do. You know, I learned this in the BNP. You got to get your core voters on the postal vote, and that's how you do it. You defeat your enemy at their own game. And you know, I've ordered my leaflets. They're about to be printed, and as soon as I've leafleted the leaflets, I'll be out knocking on doors, and I will have a nice selection of postal vote forms ready for people I know 100% are going to vote for me. As soon as you know that you've identified they're going to vote, they're patriotic or whatever, even the Muslims. On my last election, I had a whole family of Muslims vote for me because they are sick of Labour. And a lot of these, they were on a postal vote already, and their whole family gave me their vote. So, you know, we need to knock on doors. It's going to take time, but it's going to happen. You know, our time is now. And the key is the postal vote in your local election wards, and we can do it. And you know, I don't know what's going to happen in Uxbridge. To be honest, it doesn't really matter to us if Labour or Conservative win. You know, I mean, what's the stats on Liberal Democrats? How are they going to do, Paul, in Uxbridge?
They're going to get nothing in Uxbridge. They don't count, but they're going to win in Somerton and Somerset. They're stronger in the West Country. An interesting seat is the one up north in Selby, which is a rural seat, and there the opinion polls show the Tories are simply going to stay at home. There's a lot of disillusionment in Britain. As you say, that's an open door for a new voice, but we've got to have the party, the organisation to make it happen. But
right,
yeah,
let's just hold on. Let me just go through. So Count Binface Party, one of the guys running, as well as the raving loony monster party candidate, Howling Lord Hope. But interesting candidates. Here's one: Christians People's Alliance.
Yeah, they're all right.
They'll get peanuts.
I just want to say though, because their fight is even worse, because one of the candidates who ran in a mayoral election somewhere else in London, she just stated that she believed in the family values, and a two-parent family is the best way to bring up kids, something like that. And she got sacked from a job, dismissed from a job that she'd been in 13 years.
Wow.
That statement. There is a case against the particular council she was in and going, but I mean, this is what we're up against. You know what I mean? No. The Labour Party would never get attacked with something like that off any other party, whatever. But the little parties that we have are going to get attacked and shut down with things like that. So we've got to be strong and true to what we say. Also, obviously, Rebecca Jane's gone in. She's claimed that she's been threatened already. So really, we must. Does that mean then, guys, that I can go out threatening people to vote for me? Does it mean that I can go out fighting with other candidates in the street? Because it seems that that's what I can do. It just seems like that, even though we shouldn't be doing it. It seems like that. And I'll tell you something. The minute anybody is going to do stuff like that with me, I'll be making such an uproar at the police station and at the council meetings about it. They'll have to do something about it. I won't shut up. I'm not a little skinny woman. I'm not an individual or anything. I'm part of a big group, and what I'm going to do, I will absolutely bring Oldham down to the ground. If that kind of stuff is going to be done on me. But you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that with anyone else. But it's a bit shocking that these things go on and nobody does nothing, and the police aren't doing nothing. We should be.
What about Piers Corbyn? Has he made any impact at all? I mean, he made
I've seen a couple of videos of him.
There
and I mean,
he is.
anybody outside Ruslip's going to get votes. I would think it'd be him. And any besides the main parties, that's who I would think would get votes, because he's well known. He's well known.
Let me say something about Lawrence Fox, right? So he's brought this transgender thing into the discussion, yeah. But I've seen him on. This is why I don't watch GB News anymore. I've seen him on GB News calling a trans person who's biologically a man. He's calling them by a woman's name, right? Which is being part of the whole debacle. And I've also heard him saying, "Oh, you know, these people, you know, they're only against transitioning for kids, right? So, you know, but if you're an adult, oh, that's all right to do whatever." And it's just like the guy's a hypocrite, and it's the same with immigration and all this stuff, political correctness. When you get down to the nitty gritty, they're just fake people, and you know, they mock people for saying, "Oh, you can't identify what a woman is," but then they won't identify what a British person is, as in a British person has to be Indigenous, English, Irish, Scottish, or Welsh. So you know, it's another distraction to make it longer for us to get to where we want to get with these parties in the way, because they're all pro-immigration, they all want more refugees. And I just don't know what they stand for, because they're deceiving a lot of people. A lot of people really believe that they want to stop permanent settlement immigration and they want to stop accepting refugees, which they don't. But they're very clever at deceiving people. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, like, you know, people like Lawrence Fox, he's had a £3 million donation from this multi-billionaire, and they got money to throw away. Not like us. We are genuine patriots, grassroots, and it'd be interesting to see what their manifesto says and how much influence this person had over the Reclaim Party who donated the £3 million. Because when you get big donators, they want to start writing your manifesto, don't they?
You know what's interesting as well in these three by-elections is who the Labour Party have chosen as candidates. They've deliberately gone for a white male in each constituency. I mean, they're playing a classic Blairite card, the Labour Party. They're trying to con the British people to think that they're a conservative, status quo, patriotic party, when they're, of course, they're the exact opposite.
He lives in Kentish Town, this guy. He lives just near where Keir Starmer lives, and he's best mates with Keir Starmer.
Yeah, no doubt. But Keir Starmer himself, he's deliberately shut down every issue now in the Labour Party. They're discussing nothing. They've got no commitment to anything, but they've got a hidden agenda, and the primary one is to take us back right into the EU. Now, Pat's talked about the British public being disillusioned with the three main parties. They're trying to say, if we go back into the European Union, then we'll go back to the status quo ante, you know, the better days. But the truth is, the European Union itself is now in meltdown. France is in a much worse situation than us. It's got huge debt, roaring inflation, a massive public sector, real problems ahead, France, a huge immigrant population, which is, as we've seen, is very turbulent and very violent. Germany has got phenomenal problems, but it's got all these countries have got committed patriotic parties like the Alternative for Deutschland and the National Rally. And in Spain, of course, there's an actual general election on Sunday in Spain, 23rd of July. And Vox are going to be a constituent of a new government in Spain. We're going to see right-wing governments right across the Mediterranean. So the EU that they want to go back into it's in meltdown. So the idea that the EU is going to come and save us, that's got to be the biggest joke of all time. And so, and the other issue is the war. No one's mentioning the money that we're pouring into Ukraine. Billions. This is a time when we're desperate in this country to finance the public sector and to, you know, they're imposing fresh taxes on us one way or another. Stealth tax, ULEZ.
Yeah.
And yet billions are still being given to this futile and ridiculous war in the Ukraine when he could reach a compromise tomorrow. And and yet no political party is really beating the drum about that.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about this other thing, John? Yeah.
Yeah. 1 sec. Just let me get into the chat.
Let me ask Paul Rimmer something. Paul Rimmer, what do you know about Andrew Tate? Did you like him? Are you aware of him? Are you aware of how popular he was? And was you aware that a lot of British patriots were supporting of him?
I know he's
one sec, guys. Let me weigh in 1 sec. Joker AI, I've put in the link to our National Housing Party site, and you can donate through there. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Craigs, Arlene, on the news. Good to see you there, Martin. Hope you're feeling better. And everyone, Mark Williams, Serena. Yes, Peter, I hope you're all right. John, St. George's Sue, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, guys. Go on, carry on, carry on. Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate is someone I haven't really taken that seriously. I knew he was involved with Tommy Robinson in Luton years ago. And I knew he was a martial arts guy. And then he became a big figure, didn't he, on the internet? He became a bit of an internet sensation, social media. And he's advocating the sort of manliness and playing with the women and, you know, being a player and, you know, counteracting all this sort of woke agenda. And he got quite a following, didn't he? He had an appeal amongst the lads. He was very blokish. And I thought, you know, good on him, you know. But I saw his interview with Tucker Carlson. Now, that has become the biggest watched interview of all time.
Did you know he was a Muslim, Paul?
100 million people have watched that interview, Pat. Now, he converted to Islam. Yeah. I don't know why, but it was, I don't know who influenced him or what the reason for that was. But he's now a Muslim, and I mean, he prays 5 times a day. He's trying to clean up his life in some way. I think it's a front, really, because I don't think he's a decent guy. I don't think it's changed his heart. But obviously, he's rejected Christianity. Now, given that so many churches in Britain are woke, you can sort of understand that. But he doesn't recognize the real Christianity. Real Christianity is righteous, and it's strong, and it talks about masculine values as well, but masculine values with love, you know. And we need to go back. Traditional Christianity was a source of strength for this country. It created a very peaceful society, a very prosperous society, very decent society, but might have been soft-hearted, but we were tough in the head, and we took no messing. There was a time for peace, and there was a time for war. And if anyone stepped on our toes or crossed the line, we corrected that. Now, sadly, that sort of Christianity, that muscular Christianity that Britain espoused in the Victorian age, in the Edwardian age, it's been pushed to the margin. We've got this woke Christianity now. We have to push back against that. And I know that Andrew Tate he's not a patriot, is he? If he's sold out our traditional faith and our traditions, so much of this country's traditions are wrapped up with our Christian heritage, including Christmas Day itself.
Yeah, well, let's tell you what's happened then. So I've never been a fan of him. I just didn't really like the sound of his voice, to be honest. He got some weird accent, and you know, I noticed certain people liked him and that, and I thought, well, I probably definitely won't like him. So I didn't really look into him. But then we've learned that he is basically a pimp. And he's pimping out women on the internet to fleece lonely men in the West and lie to them, to drain them of all their money. This is all out in the open, and people still support him. And even I'm not sure when this tweet was done. I think it was yesterday. But you must have heard about the Trocadero. Like, the Trocadero is a famous landmark in Piccadilly. And about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, there was a big petition against them building a mosque there. The petition won, and they cancelled the plans to build a mosque. Anyway, this guy, Aziz, what's his name? Aziz. Aziz, a multi-billionaire property tycoon, UK citizen, Muslim, obviously. He's now finalised plans to build an Islamic centre within the Trocadero, and there's going to be a mosque in it, right? So Active Patriot tweeted about this, saying what's happened, just reporting on it. Obviously, as Patriots, as Christians, we don't like that. And Andrew Tate has now said this in his tweet. He's quote tweeted Active Patriot. This building is literally dead centre in the middle of London's historic centre. Amazing news. The only alternative to Islam for the Brits are pride flags, as they no longer have any innate culture or patriotism. Allah is the best of planners, and I look forward to seeing the Islamic Republic of Great Britain in her final form. And then he says some Islamic thing. Britain will be fully Islamic soon. This is Andrew Tate, and people support him. I just can't believe it.
Well,
we have problems with Islam because Islam is a totalitarian faith. It doesn't tolerate any other faith. It's a supremacist faith. It's their way or no way, and it's for me it's scary, you know. And also they regard non-Muslims as dhimmis, as kafirs, second-class citizens. I mean, this is Islam. This is the norm in the Islamic world. So God help Britain, but we do have to wake up, you see. And it's only the vehicles like this, the National Housing Party of the UK, that can give people hope, because we've got to get organised. We've got to fight back. It's obvious now that the establishment has lost heart. The major political parties have got no backbone or fight in them. We have to form new battalions. We have to form new parties. And this is what the National Housing Party of the UK is all about. There's still a lot of life in the British people. We've got a fantastic heritage. We've got a fantastic spiritual heritage. We shaped the world. We gave hope to the world. We brought civilization across the world, you know, and we made people wealthier and freer and better educated and to live longer. We've given so much to the world. To simply cast that aside now and become an Islamic republic like Pakistan, you know, that's a terrifying idea, isn't it? And it would really be a step backwards. And therefore, we have to organise, guys. We've got to we've got to turn away from sin. I mean, Andrew Tate, he's obviously hitting on a truth in that we've lost so much of our culture and our heritage. I blame the 1966 Labour government and what they did in 1967 when they legalised the murder of unborn babies. They legalised homosodomy. They legalized easy divorce. They attacked the family and they attacked children. And it's been downhill ever since. We have to get back to traditional Christian values. All life is precious and sacred and should be welcomed into the world. We need to have families again, but we need to structure our society around morals again, right and wrong. We're going in the wrong direction. I mean, Andrew Tate thinks Islam could be the answer. It's not the answer for me. We do need an answer, though, because the way we're going downhill, British society is going down into the abyss.
Well, the thing about it, Paul, is, you know, Andrew Tate wants that for Great Britain, and no doubt he wants that for the United States as well. So I don't even know why Carlson is interviewing someone like that. The guy, Tate, wants an Islamic revolution in the West.
Well, we have to fight back against the woke agenda, obviously. But the woke agenda and Islamification are two ends of the same stick. They're all about replacing European civilization with foreign civilizations, foreign ways of life, alien forces. It's all about giving the globalists will get the power ultimately. And they want to remove us from our society. They want to break up the fact that we're active citizens. We believe in democracy. See, Islam has no democratic tradition. It has no real political tradition. Every Islamic country is either a dictatorship or a one-party state. There's no liberty, there's no freedom in these countries, but there's also no respect for any other traditions. So it's not attractive to me because I value liberty. I value the collective as well, the people, the Patriots, but I also value Britain and its heritage, especially its Christian heritage. And we've got to bring that back to life again. We're not dead yet. There's still, most of us in this country are still part of this Christian heritage and this British heritage, and we need to assert ourselves again.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Bible study tomorrow night. We've got a new member coming to the Bible study tomorrow night. So shout out to any Christians out there who's interested in joining our Bible study. We've had a week's break. 2-week break. So we're back on it tomorrow, 7 o'clock. You can email me. My email is it on the screen there, John?
I'll put it on now. Yeah, I'll put it on.
But also, I'd like to do a shout out for anybody in the Midlands area. We're going to be doing a leafleting session coming up in Leicester. So if anybody can come and help out with that, that would be great. Get in contact with us. So we're looking to get that sorted out in the next within the next month or so. So Bible study tomorrow. There's my email on the screen. Please email me for that. Pastor Paul Rimmer there leads an excellent, lively Bible session, and we're not woke. We are traditional Christians. We read from the Bible, and all the Church of England and all these churches now, they're basically gone down the wrong road, and that's why we started the Bible study, and that is why we want to prioritize Christianity, because that's what our country needs. That's what made our country great, following Jesus Christ. And let us know if you want to come tomorrow, and let us know if anybody's available for leafleting in Leicester. Is that in the East Midlands or the West Midlands, Leicester?
East Midlands.
Right, okay.
John, do you want to add anything?
Thank you very much, everyone in the chat. Good to see you there, Diane. Thank you, Joker. Again, our link to the party, I put it in the chat. Simon Chapman. Tate is right, though. Demographics don't lie. They are outbreeding us. It will be an Islamic Republic, and there's nothing now this spineless country can do to stop it. There's plenty we can do to stop it. And what we see on the media isn't the truth. And you've heard what Pat said about some of his voters. They're coming away from the Labour Party. They're losing votes in Oldham all the time. They've gone down to... They've lost 13 seats in about 4 years in Oldham, and they're nearly losing the majority. So they're going down, and Oldham has been staunch Labour. An independent last year took a 30-year Labour seat with his vote. So people just are not voting Labour or Conservative or less Conservative. But again, it's up to us. Let's us keep strong. I wish that I could have had some time to go to the by-election and protest, because I would have said to Lawrence Fox directly, how come you're not stopping immigration? We don't want any more. We don't want to put out any more passports. And I'm sure that if I talked to him in a pub, he'd probably say that to me. But obviously, his media face says a different thing, and that's what we're all screwed up over, is our politicians just don't tell the truth, and they're not honest. So
what is great is that we've got Twitter now, and we can get a lot of truth out on Twitter. Now, the National Housing Party UK page on Twitter has now surpassed 30,000 votes, 30,000 followers. And so it's making a real impact there. Pat's leading it brilliantly. And so if you want to follow what we're thinking on a day-to-day basis, how the party's growing, what our agenda is, how to get in touch, how we're building a network, how we're going to fight back and reclaim this country, go on to Twitter and follow Pat's page, the National Housing Party UK. I've got a page, Paul Rimmer. John's got a page, lively page. So so that's a great outlet. And you'll find on Twitter, I mean, I don't use the mainstream media now. I think they're just paid activists, aren't they? Left-wing activists. That's all you listen to. There's no truth in the mainstream media anymore. You get a lot more truth on Twitter, and that's where you should go to follow the party on a day-by-day basis.
Also, if you want to stay up to date via email, you can go to our website, nationalhousingparty.uk, and an address form will come up, and you can just put your email in, submit to it for nothing, doesn't cost any money, and you will get an email every time we have a live stream or a new article's released, and keep up to date that way as well. But we are growing as a party. You can also join the party, £22 for waged a year, £11 if you're unwaged, like old age pensioner or veteran, something like that. Come and join us. It's all going well, and we've got candidates lined up. in elections coming up. If you want to stand in elections, it's even better. If you're thinking about it and you just want to talk to us about it, get in contact with us, because we might have a candidate in Merseyside soon, so we might have leaflet in there as well coming up. John, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, in the Wirral. But yeah, if you want to stand as a candidate or you want to join the party, help something, contact us. And don't be put off by standing as a candidate. If you're a strong person and you can talk to people, you're ideal to run as a candidate. And it isn't that difficult, guys. It isn't that difficult. We've done a year's
in the last local elections, we had Gary, didn't we, in the Wirral? We had Callum down in Gloucester. We had John in Oldham. And they all did really well. And there was no problems at all. We were very well received on the doorstep. And, our message is a sensible message. We're not, we're not trying to upset people. We're trying to give people hope and a future and say that there's a way out of this mess, but we have to come together as a nation. We have to be united. We have to form networks, form your battalions, get involved with the party. You might be out there now in despair. You might be out there fuming about what's taking place in this country. You might be out there very concerned about the future, the economic.
Put your energy into running as a candidate. I just want to. We had a meeting. We had a full council meeting on Wednesday while we was in Northern Ireland, and so I've got back, and the next day I've watched the meeting, and there was 2-3 questions wrote in about gender identity and relationship and sex education. Now, nothing's been mentioned for a couple of years about that. Last year, on every one of my leaflets was gender identity. So it's making people contact the council. So I must be doing something right. So that's how you can just change things. And there was a big thing in the council on the meeting. I'm chopping up the video now and I'll get the bits out, but you'll hear it for yourself. So, and again, mine was the only leaflet that had anything on like gender identity, adult, human, female. No other leaflet did. And all my leaflets I did last year had that on. So it's making people contact the council. So that must be a good thing. And that must be a good thing that people are reading my leaflets. And I've had a good comeback off them. But again, no other candidate in Oldham, independent, mainstream party will talk about these issues, especially in Oldham. They won't. I'm the only person mentioning it. So, and I'm getting seen. People are talking about me more. They're talking about our party. Half a dozen people have contacted me over relationship and sex education in the past few months. So something must be going on. But again,
that's what we need, John. We need to become leaders in our community. We have to become the catalyst which motivates people to fight back, to get involved. But I think there's a lot of built-up energy out there. We need a vehicle to release that energy and to change this country for the better. Come on board and join the National Housing Party.
Yeah. I mean, I'd just like to quickly add that when I stood in the election for the first time, I was a bit anxious about it and that, but I had so much stuff I wanted to get off my chest, and I got it all onto the leaflet, and it was a liberating experience. I swear to God, it was one of the best feelings I've ever had, and I can't wait to do it again. And my leaflet's going out next week, and it's a really nice feeling that we do live in a democracy and we can stand in elections and put stuff on leaflets what is uncomfortable for the opposition, because I'm doing something on my leaflet my opponents are not going to be happy about, which I will reveal in due course.
London needs you, Pat. London needs you in the council chamber.
Thank you to everyone joining us. Bobby Crust, Joe KI, you've been very chatty in the chat. We like that. Thank you very much. Sergeant Furritos, good to see you, my man. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You as well. I would have done, Diane. I would have been at Uxbridge. I certainly would have been there, but something's come up the next couple of days. I've got to stay here. We've got important stuff to do. But I would have done, and I would have took my National Housing Party banners, and I'd have called everyone out in Uxbridge and said, why are you voting for these clowns? That's what I would have said. You know what I mean? I would have talked about ULEZ and the CAS tax. And remember, ULEZ is in London, but they're doing this all over the country. It's CAS tax in Greater Manchester. It's ULEZ in London. It's something else in Bristol. That they're trying it out everywhere. So it's a massive issue with everybody I've talked to. And it's, again, Pat can tell you that. It's been an issue with everyone he's talked to. Honestly, if you're in a taxi in London, you just mention to the taxi driver about ULEZ and you won't shut him up. He'll just carry on going. They're screwing us over. Our jobs are going to go. This, that, and the other. They're all saying it. And I just can't believe that they're still rolling it out. I just really can't believe.
That's how anti-democratic this country's become. And we need to fight back, people. But anyway, guys, God bless. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. I'll see you next week, people. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you very much. Again, National Housing Party. There's our... Oh, that's not the one. I've just got a couple of minutes. I've got to run out in a minute. But yeah, there is our National Housing Party link. Again, you can donate through the... You could join the party. We've got articles on it and stuff like that. But if you want to join up or get ahead or join us, please get in contact. One thing I'm going to show you, 1 minute, guys. Big John with the first membership card for National Housing Party. And yeah, we're trying to do it by the books. We have monthly meetings. We do invite people on to see that we are having monthly meetings discussing stuff to do with the party. At the moment, we've got an application in to be registered in Northern Ireland. Bit of an hiccup on it at the moment, but looking at it, hopefully we'll get that sorted out and our registry to Northern Ireland will be coming along. So we're not forgetting anyone. We're not forgetting Scotland. If you've watched me already, I've been Glasgow, Edinburgh and Inverness load of times already these past few months. And I've even posted 500 leaflets in Mooravoord. And I've handed out leaflets in Glasgow several times. So we're not forgetting anywhere. The last place I haven't been to yet is Wales. So I'm going to try and get down to Wales soon. And I'm going to be talking. I'm going to try and arrange to meet up with former councillor who was kicked off the council because he didn't believe in Black Lives Matter and in defunding the police. And they had a court thing in the judge, jury and magistrates had kicked him off the council. He is now running for Member of Parliament. And he got in as a local councillor with a few thousand votes. So I'm going to try and meet up with him. And there's a lot going on in Wales, if you haven't noticed already, with Llanelli. The camp in Llanelli. There's been a lot of stuff on social media about that. And obviously, but yeah, I'll be getting to Wales. But thank you very much, everyone. I'm off. Thank you. Thank you very much.